Hello, everyone. Welcome to Collector Chatter. I'm your host, Miguel, here with my co-host, Charlie. This is episode 41. And in today's episode, we're going to cover all the latest news from Funko, including the new drop of the FunKon event, which is coming up soon.
And if you're listening on the podcast platforms, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel. We have tons of exclusive content. And when you get there, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, smash those like buttons on those videos, and hit that notification bell so when you know new videos come out. So with that being said, let's chat.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Like we said in that intro, this is going to be pretty much a news episode, mostly news. We're going to talk about FunKon a little bit, which is kind of a small convention, but we were kind of going back and forth on like what FunKon even is. So we'll get more depth about that. But right off the bat, if you guys didn't notice, we do have a little bit of a new look here. So obviously a new overlay here. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, make sure that you do check it out. But mostly kind of a rebrand, a new logo, new color scheme, that kind of thing. What do you feel about that, Charlie? I love it.
I love it. I'm so excited. I think it's such a clean new look. I think it really, even though I loved our old logo, I think it really encompasses what we're all about. We now have like the Funko crown on top of it. It's funny. I now have a hat on where Miggs always had a hat, but he's now the Joker. But I'm still the Mando with Grogu. But I love it. I love this logo.
Yeah, it was cool. We were kind of playing around with it. I mean, like if we don't get like designers. Like this is something I kind of created, so we kind of been back and forth with ideas, and yeah, I felt like the orange a little too. I wanted something a little more cleaner, a little more sleek, so we went with like this gray color, a different scheme, and then we changed up the logo, and like I changed who I was on. Obviously, went to Joker body, being a huge Joker fan and everything, and I figured it's cool. And then I wanted to show a little bit more. Like Charlie's obviously a huge Mets fan. I'm a diehard Yankees fan, and we do talk about sports stuff once in a while. So I'll let you guys know that we're also going to talk about that, not just, the collectible, strictly Funko stuff. So we're going to get into this episode 41, right? So basically, we'll start off with news. So it's mostly going to be a news-driven episode, I can say, kind of like our last week's episode. But we'll start off right off the bat with something that I thought was pretty cool. As obviously being a sports fan, we are seeing a lot more of MLB kind of have these like these collabs, I guess you could say, with Funko, where they're dropping specific exclusive pops only at the park, which I absolutely love.
Awesome.
And a new one that we just saw. This one's a little bit more specific, but it's Richmond's Ice Cream is kind of like what was brought by Philly Fanatic. And of course, the Philadelphia Phillies. That's where it's going to be dropping. That's on the 21st of August. But it's a pretty cool one. It's like obviously Philly Fanatic's a pretty famous, like a mascot, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'm sure you don't love them as much as other people do, but
but we just crushed them, so I'm cool.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a cool one. It's just another one that they're doing these exclusive. So it's, whether it's not just players, now we're seeing some mascots that are like a little bit more exclusive that Funko's doing. But we kind of talked about this a long time ago in the sports, not to go on a rant on them about this, but that they should do more of this at the park or at the actual team like drops versus obviously MLB's been big with bobbleheads. So still to this day you'll get bobblehead days, but I love that now Funko Pops are getting involved in like some of these drops. So
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more because like as great as bobbleheads are, and I know there's some hardcore bobblehead collectors, and just I feel like getting a Funko at a game, it brings just more to like the 21st century of like collectibles.
Yeah.
Where I like once again, not to hate on bobbleheads. Like I used to collect bobbleheads, but like obviously Funko started with like the wacky wobblers, but like it's just I just think it's so cool. And it may even I think it's smart by Funko because there's probably people who have no idea like what Funko is, or they've seen them, but when they're going to the sports game, they get this as a a free giveaway. So it's either going to hardcore fans or some people are like, oh, this is awesome. And they check out Funko and they, they start their collection. So
yeah,
I like
it. It's cool. It's a free giveaway, which is, you can't complain about that. It's
no, you
awesome,
can't at all. So. Especially when then, you got the awesome people who, keep it for their collection or then they're flippers. I'm like still trying to get that David Wright one. It's like going for like $100. It drives me insane.
Still, oh my god!
And like some people,
I'm sure that'll go down, but that's crazy.
Me too. But then it's just so funny because like some people are like saying mint condition. When you look in the pictures, there's like beer stains on them. on the box.
Yeah,
So
exactly, because they had to hold it through an entire game.
yeah.
Like it's
So
actually surprising that these would be mint, if anything.
it's just funny, but I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely cool that they're doing this. But that was one thing, like right off the bat, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool that we're getting something a little different." And I mean, I'm sure maybe we'll get a Mr. Met. We'll get different like mascots, which we've already gotten in Funko Pop
Yep.
form. But if there's like an exclusive version, or if they're doing these like collabs with like a local, I'm assuming that's like a local business in Philly, like this ice cream shop. So like it's kind of like a cool thing that we'll see these other versions of these. But what was something that kind of
One thing that,
came out of you?
it's just something that I've been collecting. We've talked about before with the new Power of the Galaxy, which is the Star Wars Funko Pops, like of all like the major women characters
Yeah.
in the series. This one's Princess Leia. The pop's a little weak, if I'm being honest. It's pretty close to the pose that just came out for Star Wars Celebration, but
Yeah.
she's like holding, like, it's her classic pose when she has the gun. She's like blasting the stormtroopers, which is cool. It's like it's so close to the last Princess Leia pop that just came out, but I still like it. I'm going to get it for my collection, and I'm really enjoying this line that they're focusing it on. Like I said, all of the female characters of Star Wars.
Yeah. Which is cool that they're continuing to do this. I mean, I know right off the first one, you had said how much, you like this line. And it's cool that obviously we're getting the big names, and now Leia's obviously one of them, makes sense. But yeah, it depends on, it's like, when did they create this compared to the
Yeah,
celebration ones? Like, were they spread out or supposed to be spread out? And maybe now it's just like they're so close together when they're actually being announced. So it is weird if it's the exact, I mean,
I guess,
pretty
yeah.
much the
And one
exact same
thing,
one,
not
like
to
you
go on
said.
it, but like the one thing that's a little makes it a little disappointing for me is every mold so far for this line has been like amazing, new, like totally fresh, where they could have come up with like probably a better Princess Leia one for this.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping the next ones in the line do continue to be like fresh molds. Like the Sabine Wren one was just amazing, and her holding the dark saber. It was just like something that made it feel special.
Yeah. Yeah. So
How about you?
I
What
guess,
else are
I
you
mean,
excited about?
I was gonna say, so what, another thing is, this is like a pretty cool one because I feel like with their music line, or rocks line that they call it, they're kind of trying to branch out to some other types. And hip hop has kind of already been, our hip hop and R&B, let's say, has been pretty big for Funko, which I always thought was kind of funny because you would initially not think so, but obviously they probably
I
are
agree.
big old school like hip hop fans, let's say, whatever.
Yeah,
And not that this is old school at all, but it's her, and she's more, a little more on the R&B side. But it's cool that we're getting like an artist like this. Like, I wouldn't like imagine right away that it would be someone that they would drop, which is pretty cool.
I
But they're
agree.
doing hers in a pop and the gold line, which that's a line that's really not going away. I mean, Funko's clearly has to be profiting on this line, and they're continuing to make it. I'm assuming it's because it's like it's fitting that action figure like bucket of theirs, maybe, and that's why they're going to keep doing it. Because we obviously got a ton of sports ones, but the music ones have been coming pretty heavy with some of these gold characters, and hers looks pretty cool. I mean, hers, that's funny, but it's like it's a cool
It is
looking
a cool
one.
pop.
And you got the pop, you got the gold, so you got kind of, I like that if they drop it like one specific artist or person in pop and in gold. It's kind of cool. It's like, hey, look, this is a new artist, and boom, whatever. So that was one that I thought was pretty cool looking. It's not necessarily anything I would go after, but I thought it was pretty interesting. And then I did, before I forget, because I didn't mark this down, but I just thought about it. I wanted to mention this. I don't know if you saw. I can't remember whose page it was on, but there was a like a leak of what they're basically redoing some of the pop albums. Did you
I
see
didn't
that?
see this. No.
Okay. So you've gotten a few pop albums, I'm assuming,
Yep.
right? I know I have a
Yep.
majority of them, but did you notice that like in the very beginning, the way the box was different than what they are now? How now you get
Correct.
that piece on the
Bottom
top,
to top.
essentially?
Yep.
Yeah. So well, at least right now, there's a picture of the Biggie one, which is the very first one, Ready to Die. They're redoing that in the new style. Still number one, still everything, but the box is different.
That makes sense.
And I get why, because of the whole warping and the whole, because basically it was just literally a sleeve the first time. Now it's a sleeve, but the top kind of folds over and down, which I'm assuming made more sense that they did it that way. But I don't know if I like that they're redoing one. It and I mean, then again, maybe if you have the OG original one, it's gonna be cooler and more, rare or whatever. But I feel like they should have just left it, and if they keep doing new ones going forward, I don't think they need to redo the box. I just think it's a little weird. I don't know. I know you didn't see it, but I mean, what do you think
No,
about that?
I
Like,
think it's super weird. But now the reason I earlier just said it makes sense because I know we've talked about this before. I was able to order the Lincoln Park Hybrid Theory and the My Chemical Romance ones from Entertainment Earth, and we
mm-hmm.
all know like they take forever to ship. They keep
Yeah,
getting pushed, just like with the 18-inch. You know, you got your Batman, and I'm still waiting for mine. But I'm probably gonna get them in the new look. Like I didn't even think of that.
yeah,
They're
that's
probably
true.
just that's why they're all up there. You can legitimately order, I think, basically any pop album right now from Entertainment Earth.
Oh, okay. So then maybe that's why. Because there was at least, I want to say 8 to 9 of the very first ones that were the other way. I think it was like the 10th one was when it first changed over to the little flap thing. And the only thing about that is like, I don't know if you guys have seen pop albums. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, will pop up what I'm talking about. But it, I keep them in the box because it's kind of just like the way it is. But I feel like if I get room and space where I can actually display them on a wall, which is more what you should do with these, I would display them outside of the cardboard box and
Yep.
only in that nice clear, which you can do it with the comic covers,
Yep. The
like
VHS
all the
covers.
VHS ones, like they all have that style where you can take out the box and just put that. And if that's the case, then you don't really need this whole little flap thing. But it's like it's interesting because we've talked about this before where Funko like preaches that these are supposed to be taken out of the box, but then they continue to do things to prove that you should keep them in the box. So it's like
I
it's one of
know.
those weird.
I think about that all the time too, because yeah, they make cases to put the pops in to
Yeah,
protect them, but
protect
they're
them in the
like,
box.
we don't want you. It is funny though, when you ever watch like any of their, social media lives or whatever,
Oh, they
they
pop
rip
those
those
things
things
open right
like
away.
open and it's just like boom. So it is, I mean, they're catering to their collectors though, which is smart. So
Yeah, it does make sense. But that was a cool one. That was something, like I said, that was mostly about the her one. That was like a cool drop that I was excited for. But I know there's a rumor that I know we both kind of said it was pretty cool and Star Wars related. But it's that Stormtrooper. Did you see that? Well,
yeah.
supposedly I think you said it's just a leak from Europe, right?
Yeah, and somewhere has a picture, but it's like a pop tee and bundle. The t-shirt looks awesome, and it's like a chrome, which I'm not normally a huge fan of those types of pops, but for
Yeah,
the Stormtrooper, it just like works. I'm like cool
yeah,
with it. It looks awesome. So
yeah,
I'm definitely excited. I mean, they're milking they're going crazy with the t-shirt bundles, but like I don't care. I
yeah. They
like them.
really
They're
are.
cool. Which is it's even funny though too with that. It's like I'm pretty sure you do this too. You take the t-shirt out of the
Yeah,
box to
yeah.
enjoy the t-shirt. But
Wear
we
it.
even
Yeah,
there's tons of people who are like keeping that shrink wrapped, like never
yeah.
even open it. So like it's just funny to look back at the days like when they first started doing it, where like you had to open up the box to even get to the pop. Now
Hmm.
it just made me think of this, just saying like Funko's like tells you to take it out of the box. So they're now making a window in a t-shirt box for you to see the
Yeah.
Funko Pop. It's just so funny.
It is true. Yeah, it really it's really like they want to cater to both people,
Yeah.
I guess, the real like legitimate in the box, make everything, pristine. And like I that whole like that part is like a really old school collecting thing because if you remember like
Yep.
really old I would say even like the Star Wars figures and Marvel figure toys that are in that cardboard because you couldn't once you open those you could
They're
never
done.
put it back in. You ripped it open, you were done. So and that made sense because back then the value would change because it was like, no, the box is completely ripped now. You just took the figure out. With these, I think they manufactured them great that you can pop it open,
I
show it, and
love
put it
that.
back in if you needed to. So I guess like they were smart when it came to that, but it is funny. They're still gonna with specifically the t-shirt one's hilarious because it is shrink wrapped. So like that at that point, if you open up a shrink wrap, whatever,
It's
it's
open.
technically open. So like, don't do that and you keep it in this box. Now you have this little T-shirt that you can't even see. You just see a picture of it because it's behind the cardboard box, and it's like, why did you get the bundle if you don't care about the T-shirt or wearing the T-shirt, right? And like I'll do is like because I think you can kind of there's a event the Eddie Brock one. That was a
Yep.
T-shirt bundle. I took out the pop so I could put it in a nice little case and display that and wear the damn T-shirt. Like that's what I
I
wanted it
completely,
for.
that's the whole point. I completely agree.
Yeah,
Even though it's so
it's
funny
hilarious.
because like the other day I was just like scrolling through like my Funko app as I do, and I noticed like one t-shirt bundle I had of Death Watch from The Mandalorian. They're like all like the blue Mandalorian armors that were in the first
Yeah.
season and from Clone Wars. I have a t-shirt bundle from GameStop, and that came in one of the old school boxes. But like if you say the t-shirts in your collection, it says the t-shirt's worth like $75, which I just think is hilarious.
Just a t-shirt?
Just a t-shirt.
Oh man. It's so weird. Yeah,
Which
but it
there's
has
no
to
way
be
that
sealed. I'm sure it has
yeah.
to be sealed in plastic,
Yeah,
not
which
worn.
is it's just so it's just so weird.
Yeah. It is a weird concept, like when you think of it in like the whole collecting and valuable and that at versus the fact that you're just getting a figure and a t-shirt. Like
Yeah.
it's just Funko has changed the perception of what that really actually is. Like in reality, someone just bought this, like, oh cool, I get a t-shirt and I get a toy. I'm gonna pop it open and put my
Exactly.
toy and wear my t-shirt. That's essentially what it looks like to non-Funko collectors. But yeah, that was cool. I mean, I did want to talk about this. Obviously, this is kind of like talking about what we kind of hinted on this, but it was another sports thing. We mentioned the Derek Jeter pop was going to be dropping.
Yep.
And it actually did drop because at the time we actually just mentioned there wasn't a date or anything. We just knew it was going to have a chase, which we thought was cool. I know we both kind of agreed that it was kind of a weird, lazy looking odd chase, but it was cool that it was different and it wasn't just like a different jersey. Like I love that part. I'm obviously a huge, diehard Yankees fan. Derek Jeter is my favorite player of all time. So like when I said Derek Jeter needed to be in a pop, you knew I was gonna try to get after it. So I did order it. I grabbed two just because I was like, hey, if I grab the common and chase, that's cool. If I get lucky enough, because you were only able to get two max. But if I get two commons, like my brother's also a diehard fan, so I know I can always give him one or something like that. So I didn't have an issue getting the two. But something interesting happened, and I know you mentioned it when we first talked about it, if my thoughts on this pop, if it was going to sell out, or was going to sit. And if you guys didn't, listen to last week's episode, I basically said I had a feeling they were going to mass produce the hell out of this thing because, it's a big name, it's a Yankee, whatever. And it was going to sit because of that. Well, I don't know if I was partially wrong because maybe they did mass produce it, but this thing sold out, and it sold out within a day, about 7-8 hours. It wasn't like
But still,
immediately, but it was before the day's end because it dropped around like midday. And by the evening time, it was gone. I know Charlie kind of had one, just hoping maybe I could put some more stuff in there and put it in the cart. And you told me it sold out. I went out right away and just grabbed two, just because I wanted it, because I just didn't want to take the chance.
Yeah, you had to get
which
it. Like
makes
I
sense. Yeah,
didn't
if it was a Mets one, I know you would have been like, all right, let me
yes.
get it, and if it sells out, whatever. But it sold out. I mean,
And
like, what do you think? Do you think it was just that popular? Do you because there's no number to this, so it's hard to
no,
say that like it was mass produced or not. But we've kind of talked about in the past, Funko Shop exclusives don't necessarily mean exclusive in number; just means Funko sells it. So, what do you think?
well, one thing I think is I think they actually didn't make a lot of them.
Okay.
And we'll never, because not that I'm not going to deny the popularity of Derek Jeter, but we've joked about, well, not joke, but we talked about it in the podcast. Like the sports line just isn't that popular.
Yeah.
And I think the chase helped it sell out quicker because, people are addicted to the chase more
Yeah.
so these
Grab
days.
two at
They grab
once.
two. I mean, I saw basically every person in like the comments on like the major Instagram pages, like, were like, I got two.
Yeah.
But the one thing I'm shocked about was like I don't know if everyone has noticed this before, but like Funko does a few things on their website when something sells out. One, they immediately put up a notify to let you know it is going to come back. So that way, you're like, good, you'll get it in a later date, hopefully. Sometimes they keep it up and it just says sold out and doesn't have a notify, but then it does come back, which I've always thought is weird.
Yeah. Which could be like maybe a system thing.
It could
like
be.
They know they have more, and
This one is gone. The link is dead now. It's not. It's like it
sold,
didn't even exist.
truly sold out. Let's say
Truly sold out.
Yeah.
But I found it weird. They didn't even keep it on the website for a day to say sold out. Like they normally do that too, and then like in a few days they just make it disappear. So part of me is like, is that an error? And will it come back?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it truly just sold out? Like,
or was it purposely taken down to then come back later? Let's say, or something out of nowhere.
Maybe
because I know with Funko as well, in their process, obviously you got to just randomly see this, but in their process, as they're selling out, you'll get a low stock alert essentially. So like if you happen to see something that says low stock, okay, it's gonna sell out soon. So it gives you kind of an idea. But once I bought it. I didn't go back on again. And I'm sure when you saw it, it didn't say low stock, like when you had it
never said low stock or whatever.
So it is interesting to see if like did it just sell out. But yeah, maybe they didn't make as many, like you said. I believe that because they just don't sell as much as they would like to. And since this has a chase, maybe, and it's a Funko Shop exclusive, maybe there is somewhat of an exclusivity to it rather than just a regular common pop, which majority, if not all, of the MLB specifically or sports pops are usually general releases that they sell everywhere. And they probably have hundreds of thousands, of them. So I don't know, but I love it. I mean, I'm interested to see what it's going to look like in person when I get it in, see if hopefully I get a chase. I haven't it's shipped already, but I haven't gotten it yet. But obviously on my Pop Mix channel, I'll open that up and see if I get lucky enough to pull the chase, get a little 1-1 on a pop. I haven't done that on a pop in forever, but that'll be an interesting one. But yeah, that I had to talk about that because obviously it's Derek Jeter, and that's a pretty cool one to have, especially with the whole chase, which I said I think is the only time a sports one has really had like a specific that kind of chase. So
yeah, the Jackie Robinson one just recently had a chase.
Yes, that's true, and that was a Funko Shop exclusive as well, right?
No, that was a common.
Or no, yeah.
Walmart had an exclusive of him sliding,
a different
which is
one.
Awesome.
That's okay.
Which like to keep the sports conversation going a little bit, like obviously I am a little disappointed though that they didn't make the Derek Jeter pop a little bit better.
Yes, and we said that in the beginning when we first saw the pose. I agree 100%.
Because even then with the chase, like, and I know you just said before, I actually think it would have been better that the chase was like with the away New York jersey versus the like watercolor paint of like what's supposed to be dirt
splatter on the
I thought it was cool in the moment, and then like when you brought that up and like I really looked at it, I'm like, I would have wished they just kind of copied what they're doing with the Funko Gold Sports, where it's a different uniform, and like the Yankees
done it a better job. They could have done a better job, dirty, a lot better.
But the one thing, like, love or hate the Yankees, like their uniforms are iconic and they're completely different. The home is the pinstripes, and then the away is like completely different, the gray with New York. So like it would have looked where other teams, it's okay, we just swap the color of our jersey or whatever. Like I feel like it would have felt like a true chase though still.
Yeah, they could. I agree. They could have done that. I think the only reason maybe they didn't, and they kind of is like the pinstripe is iconic. I mean, the gray Yankee, where it says New York, is
but that would be the chase,
still known. Yeah, but like the pinstripe and then why, like that's the what you think of as a Yankee, or being if you think of a Yankee player, you think of that usually. But I think they could have. I like that they did the whole this thing where it's like dirty, whatever. But I just think they didn't, execute it well enough. That's the only thing. But yeah, I agree. They could have done a few other different things, but the pose itself, 100%, I agree. Where it was just not dynamic enough. You could have totally had him actually in a batting stance. He has a very unique stance that you could have done, or you could have finally, because you haven't done this with baseball, you've done it with basketball. Why wouldn't they have him like iconically jumping and throwing, which that was a Jeter thing, whether he I mean, there's an argument whether he needed to always do that or not, but we know he did it. And put him on one of those glass like stand things like they do with basketball pops that are dunking. They could have I don't think there's any baseball pop that's doing that. That's why when the Jackie Robinson one did drop, that was like sliding into a base, it was awesome because all the time you're getting them standing, holding the damn bat, or they'll be in like a normal little stance or whatever, but usually it's them standing straight up. So
they're just started to have them have like an actual batting stance. The one with them like holding the bat, it's kind of lame.
Yeah, like standing where your hand on a bat. You don't do that. Who does poses like that? Like,
like for
like it's a cane. Like
exactly, like an '80s like Sports Illustrated shoot, but like that's probably that.
Exactly. They're making it seem like it's like the back of a baseball card. Nah, come on. So yeah, that's a little ridiculous. But what else?
Speaking of Funko Shop exclusives, I know we talked about this in the past, but the Frodo soda finally dropped. Which that's still sitting on the Funko Shop store, but
Yeah, which was a pretty decent number piece count, I think, of
it
it.
is, and it doesn't come with the chase, so that means people are only buying
Uh-huh.
one. But I think this one was awesome. I love the way it looks. Quite frankly,
Yeah,
I think we talked about this in the past. Like this probably should have just been the chase for the normal Frodo
yeah,
one. Like I'm still like wondering like what made them like I always just wonder, and I know I talk about this, but like what made them decide like this one is gonna get a single figure only. Like
yeah,
it's
which is
weird.
pretty rare with
It's
sodas. You
rare.
get them, but very rare.
And it's been with like more either it's a con or they've done it with some
Yeah,
of like the stuff like that Brian loves and Mike. Like they've done it with the
yeah,
Hanna-Barbera stuff or like
yeah, or like the
the
Rocketeer,
cereal. Yeah, the Rocketeer
like
was a
a
random one that they only
like a
did one
thrown
too.
off one too. Yeah, it's just like, but I can see that kind of being like a one.
Yeah, it's a
Okay, that's kind of
one-off,
out
and
of nowhere,
it was for a con.
But yeah, but something a lot more like a Lord of the Rings style, it's a big like thing. And if you're already coming out with other ones in that line, I honestly don't feel like it should have even dropped at all because we already had Frodo. We have a Bilbo, we have a Frodo.
Yeah.
Like, why get another one and be like this? Like you said, yeah, it's essentially like a chase. Like, I mean, it's a money grab in reality because it's just another can that people want to get. Because yes, of course, it looks amazing. I mean,
It looks
the
cool.
what they did and the like clearness of it because he's invisible, like, is awesome. But I agree with you. Like that should have just been the chase of the first one, and that's where we always, harp back to the fact of like, oh, Funko's missing on some of these chases is because of things like this, where it's like it should be a normal one, and that should be a chase. People will go bananas for that.
Crazy
Like
over that.
that's
I
that's
agree.
like a way better, chase. But yeah, it's a common one still sitting around, like you said, and there's a bunch of them. So I did grab one. I mean, I'm excited to see it. I wanted
Me
it
too. I got
either
it too.
way, but I'll see kind of what it looks like in person and stuff. I know some people are starting to get them in and do videos of them, but I'm excited to see that. But Funko has also been let's see, oh, the
Oh yeah.
Advent calendar. So they announced these last week. We talked about them. You said there was supposed to be four of them. And we only were able to see three. They didn't actually like show or reveal the Disney one, but now we got the Disney one. And again, it is holiday Christmas specific theme, which in the past we've gotten calendars with just characters, whatever. These are
Minifigures.
now wearing basically like Santa hats and candy canes and things like that. So this one we saw like Mickey and the general like Disney,
Yep.
iconic characters in these. But I know you said you're a fan of the calendars in general. It's just another one I'm sure you'll want to get.
I actually pre-ordered for my son. So he will open that one and I will open up the Star Wars one.
Nice.
So it should be fun. But yeah,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think they're cool. And it's like a good opportunity to get those like tiny figures. I mean, I guess they're basically like pop keychains without the keychain.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they're literally the same size
yeah,
and the same
I mean they're
style.
cool. Like I think it's a cool like I wouldn't want to just buy those separately. I think it's a cool opportunity to make them.
Yeah. I have the Halloween one, the 13 days of
Yep.
Halloween, which was essentially kind of similar idea and constantly open it up, whatever. And it's like, yeah, little mini like horror figures. I just like specifically with that one, like I would love them to remake one with different characters because there's other horror characters they can use.
Yeah.
But I don't know if
There's
we'll
a
get there or
Halloween
not
one.
because I haven't
Yeah.
seen.
Well, there is a new Halloween one, but it's Nightmare Before Christmas Blacklight.
Yes, yes, okay. Yeah. Which,
So
but it's the whole play drops with the black light,
yeah.
basically, like that huge wave of Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, that one I won't get. Like I had to get the other one was like and it's missing some big characters. Like there's not a Michael Myers one, but there's like a Freddy and there's so there's like some of those. So
Yeah.
it's still a pretty cool one. As far as that one goes, and then Halloween related as well. I guess we can transition to that. Spirit Halloween. We know usually this time of year, getting almost into the fall time, and when Halloween comes around, they usually have exclusives. And now they have a Chuckles, which is a character from Trick or Treat, which is a movie I talk about a lot. One of my favorite movies. Of course, Sam is the only Funko related stuff. They come out with pops, sodas of him. Now we're getting Chuckles, which is just another one of like a side character of this girl with like a mask on, like a
You're gonna
clown
have to
mask.
get that, right? I'm
I
assuming.
definitely, yeah, I want that 100%.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten into a Spirit yet at all. I remember last year specifically going to a Spirit. Like you can order stuff online, obviously, but
Yep.
I remember specifically going to Spirit to get the Sanderson Twist sisters the 3-pack with the cauldron, I think is the
Yep.
one I exclusively got. That was one of their exclusives. I remember grabbing it there. But yeah, I want to get that one. The other one that they dropped is a blacklight version of Jumbo, which is one of the killer clowns. I don't get any of those. I don't have any of the sodas,
Yep.
any of the pops. So not something that I'm gonna want to grab. And it also like looks bad. Like the mold in the bright colors, like it just looks weird. I don't know. It's just not a good looking at, and I'm not a fan of that like movie or anything anyway. So that's not one I'm gonna get. But I definitely, yeah, the Chuckles one I want to get for sure.
And then there's another, I noticed another Hocus Pocus movie moment. But is that the same one as last year, or is it a completely new one?
So when I feel like I remember them seeing remember seeing like a drop of or an announcement that there was going to be a different one, but then when I've seen like pictures and stuff, it looks like it's the same, but maybe they have both. Maybe there is a different one because there's a few versions of that of the Hocus Pocus. But also obviously Hocus Pocus 2 is
Yep.
coming out this year, and I don't know if it's gonna be like technically that one, like, or if it is the OG one. I don't see why they would do a redo of the first. Like, they should make it the new movie, I guess, and maybe their outfit or something is a little
They
different.
totally should.
But yeah, I believe there's a new one coming out, and they do a lot of moments with them. I mean, moments and 3-packs and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't even know if they make them. I think they might make them individually. The
They
three of them,
do.
they do, right?
And
Yeah,
they
'cause I
were
don't have
Spirit.
those.
They were Spirit exclusives. I actually like.
Most of the time, they are.
Yeah, which I think is cool. Like this is like a totally like worthy exclusive of like it's I just like how it's, you can go get these Halloween themed Funko Pops at, the Spirit Halloween store. Because I remember I tried to get those. Those were hard to get when they first came out. Like,
one.
yeah, like I had gone to a few of the stores and like I could never find them, but I can never find anything in any retail store.
Yeah.
It still drives me insane when I watch people on like whether it's YouTube or TikTok, and I'm just like, how do you have this many Funko Pops in a Target store? Like I don't get it.
Target,
It's yeah,
Walmart's like
it's
just
yeah, it
piled to the
seems like
ceiling with
you're in
stuff.
another world. Like it's just funny because like our boy Trey from South Texas Collectibles, he'll like send us videos, and I'm just like, how do you have all of these
Yeah.
options in a store?
Yeah, the only time and it's funny because me and Charlie are both in New Jersey, but we're in different parts of New Jersey. Like
Yeah,
I'm in North Jersey, he's more in Central Jersey, and it's like it's far enough away to be different, right? But we have the same situation where it's just like over here, it's like what'll happen is if we happen to have like a bunch of volume pops, let's say, it'll literally be one, if not two pops, just 50 of them. Not like where we see these, like you say, like Trey has sent us these pictures, like, oh look, I was at Walmart, I see this, and it's literally like 40 to 50 different types of pops, and I'm like, what are some of these things? Like, how do you have all this stuff? And like, and it's not even just the pops; it's all that collectible section and everything. Because I've even been trying to find, like, my daughter's really big into like the plush toys. I've been getting a bunch of like the horror ones and like that, and like I see people at Target and they have all these different characters, and goddamn, every time I go to Target, all they have is Bob Ross freaking plush, and that's the only one they ever have. And I'm like, why don't where's all these other characters that everyone else you see have or whatever? And I'm like, god damn it. So it's always like that, whether it's that or the figures and NECA toys, like it's always like random one or two, and then that's it. Like I don't
it's
know if they just
crazy.
don't stock them over here or people just really buy them that crazy. I don't know. Like then again, I'm not walking into Target at like 8 in the morning right when it opens, just randomly if we happen to pop by Target. So maybe they do stock them and they just sell. I don't know. But I think from what I hear, everyone around here has that issue. So I think it's just an East Coast, freaking New York, New Jersey thing. But
Yeah, I think the workers are buying them.
and that too, yeah, we talked about that.
I'm trying to think what else is.
Well, there's like a news kind of thing is D23 reveals. So
Oh yeah, I'm
they're
pumped
not
for
out
that.
yet, but we are, yeah, that supposedly. So I think Funko specifically like commented on a Twitter thing or whatever a couple days ago and said next week. So I'm assuming that means this current week.
Yep.
We'll be getting the reveals, but then a lot of people were like, in the comments, I'm like, oh well, everything's been so delayed and they're always messing these reveals up. So who knows if it's gonna be, but I guess we'll look out for that because that could be something pretty cool. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do specifically with that or how that's gonna go or that wave or line or whatever they're gonna do, but
So it's the 100th anniversary of Disney. So I think we're gonna get like a huge line like that. We're gonna go from the 50th anniversary like line that they're still making
Yeah.
for Walt Disney World, and we're gonna branch it off into that. But I'm sure we'll get D23 has always had really small exclusives. They've actually never really been available to people that don't go to D23. I'm assuming Funko has changed that again. We'll probably get a drop of these. But one thing I love as a huge Disney fan, they're normally pretty like niche, like hardcore characters of like
Oh, that's cool.
of like fans. They're not just dropping like these common like Stitch Pops. Like I
Yeah.
know one which I love is like the Dapper Dans are kind of like a quartet that sings like a Main Street in Disney World and Disneyland. Like that was a D23 pop.
Yeah.
They seem to stick with like Disney parks type stuff. So
Which is
I'm
cool.
excited to see, but there has been no rumors, which is weird.
Yeah, no rumors, no leaks necessarily. So it's still that's why like people I guess are questioning like, is it gonna really be revealed or like is it having
Yeah,
because usually they don't keep stuff like that on wraps. Like someone will get a hold of something, but I guess
especially
we'll look
now.
out for it.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
nowadays it's been nuts. But we'll see. But the last thing I wanted to talk about with news, so this kind of transition to another little topic we want to talk about is NFT news.
Oh
So
yeah.
two things specifically. Obviously, the latest drop was the Avatar, Nickelodeon's Avatar, Last Airbender. So that was the NFT line that dropped week ago, right? It was last week, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Last week
last week. Charlie, I know you went after it. I didn't really try for it at all. I know you got a few packs actually,
I did. So
and
if
you dropped a video on here. If you guys like, again, if you guys are listening, this is another reason why we say head over to the YouTube page because when we do these exclusive things, specifically we're doing it a lot with obviously NFT pack breaks and stuff. That's more of a video type of thing. We're not going to sit on a podcast and be like, oh, I
yeah,
pulled this or I pulled that, So like, yeah, definitely check it out. But I mean, you can kind of maybe just hint towards kind of how that went for you with the packs.
yeah. So we have this, I don't know, it's not a joke going on, but like we have a collector Trotter streak going, so that streak continued. So, and it
Yeah.
was pretty epic. So you got to watch that video. But did pull some awesome redeemables, and I think a lot of people are saying the Grail from this is going to be the most sought after Grail out of any of the Funko NFTs, which I find interesting.
Really.
Yeah, people are going nuts over this one, like nuts.
And I'm not, and I mean, like, I don't know. I know Avatar barely, like a little
Yep.
bit. Like, I know Aang and I know, Avatar and the Last Airbender. Like, I know that whole thing. And Korra, like, obviously the whole little side show that they had with her. But I don't know who that is. Like, how the character that's the Grail to know that it would be that intense.
I
And
think
I
this is
mean,
they've never
Avatar
made
is a
one of
very
him.
popular. Yeah, it's a very popular. We all know, obviously, it's a big deal. And with Funko specifically, it's usually a big deal. And like
It
exclusives that
is.
come out and things like that. I always thought the royalty was going to be cool because obviously the royalty is Freddie
Yeah.
Azang, so like that's cool. But yeah, it's interesting to see. Maybe that just shows you. I have a feeling if they go like hardcore anime, like they do like
Oh
a My
yeah.
Hero or something that's like, or even a Dragon Ball Z. I know that's like
I think we'll get
way
Dragon
almost
Ball Z.
overdone. But if we get something like that in NFT form, I think then that would be the most popular, like one because
It
that's there's an audience out there. I think they're
dude,
missing it.
they are missing it. And like, not to go off topic, but you bring up Dragon Ball Z. I saw this really crazy stat the other day online. So Fortnite is gonna have like an event with Dragon Ball Z. So if I don't know how familiar you are with Fortnite, but they'll always, they mesh a lot of IPs as they come into the game. They have done Marvel, they've done Star Wars, DC. I mean, like actually like everything. It's super cool as like a video game fan if you ever want to play as like a character and if you're into Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
So Dragon Ball Z is coming, and it's the most watched trailer ever for Fortnite,
Wow.
which I was like shocked to hear that. I mean, like when No Way Home came out, Spider-Man was in it. Like they like everything, and this like people are going nuts over it. So
Yeah.
leads me to believe, which Dragon Ball Z obviously still has a huge fandom, even though it's not as like quote unquote hip as I think a lot of the animes that people are loving now, like Demon Slayer. But they always seem to come out with Con Pops, Dragon Ball
Mm-hmm.
Z, and they
Always.
keep that line going. yeah, I think when that happens, it's going to go insane. Because the one thing I wanted to say that I love so much about the NFT pops is they are like original. It's like, I actually think this, all the amazing ideas that Funko is like, they're talking about and making new pops, they're giving them to the NFTs, in my opinion.
Yeah, some of
Like
the cool like looks
they're
and
all
stuff.
original, they're new molds, they're not really repeating many molds. They're
Yeah.
coming out with new characters that like are more niche ones that they haven't had. Like they're doing that right, in my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's crazy, but back to like just Dragon Ball Z in general, like you said, yeah, it's still super popular regardless of it's a long run, like it's been going on for a long time. We're still getting new seasons and new movies and things. I mean, they do movie events at theaters, like with Dragon Ball Z, so like it's obviously a huge deal. And it's funny that I haven't ever thought of this, but when you were talking about it and like if they go to NFT, I mean, that'd be crazy. That'd be a big deal. But that's one thing I haven't thought about that they need to do in soda form. They don't have
Oh
Dragon Ball
wow.
Z sodas
No.
yet. And we have anime style sodas. We started getting some My Hero ones. We started getting a couple other random ones, but we don't have any yet. And it's a line that they've had for a really long time. It's an enormous line in the Funko Pop world that they should totally be making these in sodas. I think that would be insane.
I
Like
agree. Like I don't
that's
even
another big
collect
line.
anime. Even in the sodas, I would get like a Dragon Ball Z sodas.
Yeah, of
I would
course. You
collect
get like
those.
and obviously it's you make a comment in the Super Saiyan versions of Chase. Like that's an easy like layup,
Easy.
but it's an amazing like thing. Like do it. But yeah, it's funny. I've never every time I ever thought like, oh, what do they need to do in sodas? I always think of all these different things, but I've never thought of Dragon Ball Z, and I'm surprised that now I just clicked. I'm like, wait, they don't make Dragon Ball Z in sodas. And I was also thinking because if you guys are watching as well, probably noticed my background's a little different. So like this whole out of box thing, I kind of got rid of. Well, I didn't get rid of, but I shipped them up. Basically, I'm putting them in storage. A ton of this goes like 5 high, so a ton of those out of box pops and all my Dragon Ball Z ones. Because when you were talking about it, I looked back and I'm like, damn, they're not there
They're
anymore.
not there anymore.
All my out of box Dragon Ball Z ones are gone and now been replaced with sodas, and that's why I know I was like, damn, they don't make Dragon Ball Z sodas. Like that's crazy. Let's put two and two together, but yeah, definitely check out the video. Check out what Charlie pulled as far as the Avatar ones. Like you said, the streak has continued. Essentially every pack that has come out that we've been able to at least purchase
Yep.
has Charlie has pulled a redeemable essentially, right? He's the more of the NFT guy. The one that he missed was the one time I got NFTs and pulled a redeemable. So as a collective, collector chatter, we have continuously pulled every single time and the streak has continued. So it's definitely a pretty awesome streak to have. But definitely check out that video. And then to transition into the newest news of NFTs is, of course, one of the biggest names. We're talking
Oh
about big names
yes.
coming to NFTs is Power Rangers. So we are now getting Power Rangers NFTs, and just that clip and that video and the way they showed it looks amazing. The characters and the NFTs cards that we've seen so far at least look amazing. The redeemables look amazing, and it's a pretty decent size. It's a good size of packs,
Yep.
and it's a good amount of redeemables. It reminds me again of like one of these bigger like waves that everyone kind of like then the ones that everyone like kind of was a big deal and went after. I think this one's gonna be another one. Um, but I'm excited for it, but I wonder like how like I don't think we're gonna be in the days of like when the DC dropped where it was like everyone was at an hour. We had all these big issues
Nope.
because like you said, Avatar was definitely a big deal and popular, but you were able to get packs. People seem to not many
They
complaints. So I
no.
think the system is kind of fixed on that end. So hopefully going forward, every drop, you're able to kind of get some of these. But what are your initial thoughts of the Power Rangers? My initial right off the bat is just they're sick. I mean, they
Dude,
look awesome. It makes sense too. Like they're a great
they
color.
are amazing. Like to me, this is the best drop that they've had. For me, for my fandom, like I grew up on Power Rangers. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were my first real gateway, them and Ninja Turtles into collecting stuff, waiting in lines. I mean, I've talked about this I think before in the podcast, but like having my mom like wait outside of Toys R Us to like get me like the new Green Ranger. Like I was obsessed with Power Rangers, and these are some fire redeemables. This is going off of like what I was saying before about how they are doing characters that they haven't made. This repeats a little bit of characters that they have made before, but they've made them special. And I like this. Knock on wood, the streak has to continue for this. Like I want these, and I want these bad.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out because it's kind of hard to tell. So I'm looking at the redeemables. So the initial picture that came out, there was 5, but there is a 6th one.
Yes,
that's going to be out. But it obviously there's a Green Ranger, there's Zordon, which that is so
that's
cool.
my most wanted pop. Like I want that so bad.
Like that pop, like I just wonder what that's going to look like. That's going to be
me
sick.
too.
Then there's Ranger Slayer, which is a pink one. Then there's a Red Ranger. Then the Freddy version is Megazord. So that's the
all of their resorts together.
Yeah,
like,
but that's the one that you royalty.
That's that's the royalty
collecting. Yeah, collecting the whole thing. But I was looking like, what style do you think this is kind of based off of? Because unless it's just the way she looks, but the green and red look more like they were in the same, and then the pink, she looks more different. No,
she does. So
like, I'm gonna comic. Like it looks not.
Yeah,
like...
I can talk about this a little bit because this is also which I want to talk about the Power Ranger line in general, like really quickly when we're talking about this. But like, so the pink one is the Ranger Slayer. She's a Power Rangers comic book character. She had a comic book run. So it's just interesting to me that they're molding like the comic book that Boom Studios has been making one for a while. Like, is that what these are based on? Even though the comic books are officially, they're officially licensed with Hasbro, who owned Power Rangers. Like, so I don't know if the NFTs are going to be a mixture of like some random characters that we weren't ever in the TV shows or in the movies. It's just interesting to me. So because then I even know like Scorpina, she's one of the ones that like wasn't really kind of shown in the beginning, and now it's come out that she's a redeemable. She's like one of the henchmen from the original Power Rangers with Goldar, and like she kind of like that character just kind of faded away after like the first 2 seasons of the show. But I then was researching, like I read the comic book when it first came out, but like she's a major player in the comic book. That's kind of like they're like, where did she go in the television series? Let's bring her back in this comic book and like make her a major villain. So the reason I'm bringing these 2 characters alone, it's giving me like they're taking characters from the comic book vibes.
Yeah, which kind of, I mean, I guess but then it also wouldn't be surprising if they kind of melded 2 or different ones, because they've kind of done that with NFTs where you just get like the big property and they kind of throw out different versions and different ones,
which it's all considered like Power Rangers canon, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like, it's under Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which I know is
the OGs,
specific OG one, because I know towards the future ones and all those are different, which I'm assuming none of that will be in this, because there's more of the OGs. Because even like you were saying, like, we grew up on Power Rangers. I specifically more remember liking whatever the movies specifically, more like the show here and there. But I like what I think of right away when I think of Power Rangers is like that initial like movie and stuff. So like that's kind of like what I was thinking of right away. But then I saw some of these, like you were saying, the comic style of the Pink Ranger, and that Ranger Slayer, and I was like, I didn't really know exactly what that was, but that makes sense if that's more that character. Maybe that's kind of what they're going with. It's interesting how they like what they come up with like to do these lines, because we even said it with the DC one. The DC one I think is always the one that we can always go back to, where it's like they use like Rebirth and they use like some of the like some comic style ones, and it was like such a mix. So it was like they just do it because a property is DC, like, and that's why I feel like they're kind of somewhat doing maybe with this, if it's a mixture of it. But it's gonna be sick. I mean, that royalty is amazing. I mean, it makes sense. Like, I think that's a cool one because they don't have to choose a specific ranger, So like they did that. I'm sure the cards will look great. Most of the time, we don't see everyone, and then when the cards come out, we get some sick cards. Like I'm sure we're gonna get a bunch of cards and villains and things like that in the actual NFT cards. But yeah, I'd see this one being a pretty big one. It's gonna be a lot of packs. It dropped I don't know if we said it. So
Yeah,
it's
it
the
drops.
23rd, right?
Yes. Yep.
So 23rd, which is that this week?
No,
No,
it's
that's
not,
next
it's the
week. Yeah,
following
that's
week.
the following. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so look out for that. Which
So
will be
NFTs, they're
Tuesday, I think,
dropping
right? Yeah,
NFTs like,
Tuesdays.
and it's crazy. It's just like, oh,
Yeah, we thought it was gonna be like once a month, and now it seems like it's almost like twice a month. Like in the beginning and the end, it seems like they're kind of
which
like
I kind of wish they weren't doing that just for, my wallet, but
yeah.
it just, they're doing well for them. So like I get it. It's like so easy for them to do. And like we've joked, like they probably never even made these Funko Pops yet. Like I legitimately, which like I don't know if I posted on our Instagram, but like I just got my Star Trek ones.
Yeah.
It's
Like when
so
you actually get the redeemable. Yeah,
it's
I'm
crazy.
still waiting for my Nickelodeon one, the one that I finally got one. So yeah,
So you'll try to
it's
get
cool.
these, right?
Oh yeah. These I'm gonna try to grab. But the last few drops I haven't like been so like excited for. Like one was My Little Pony, and I obviously didn't really care less for that one. But even the Avatar one, like I thought it was cool, but it wasn't something that like got me. Like this one definitely does. If it was like you said, it was Dragon Ball Z or something like that, like yeah, I'll go after that. If we ever get Marvel or anything like that, of course. If we do another horror or Halloween style, which I know we kind of mentioned,
Yep.
maybe they'll do that, or maybe they'll do a holiday, Christmas style one. That kind of thing I'll probably still try to go after. But yeah, this one is definitely one I'm probably gonna try to. Yeah, I'm gonna try to grab something. I'm hoping, and then we'll do some openings and
Yes.
see if we keep that streak going for sure.
I gotta
For
keep this
Collective
streak
Chatter,
going.
we got to keep it going. It's been amazing. I mean, you've been pulling. It's been nuts. If you guys have not watched those videos, definitely watch them because Charlie's been getting the most ridiculous luck. Like I've always been kind of more known of getting the soda luck, and he doesn't get as many soda chases, but the NFTs has definitely been his thing since the beginning, really, since he pulled those
Yeah.
that Freddy soda, which I was like,
Soda.
holy crap, first ever soda, and all that
I
kind of
know.
stuff.
I'll never forget that. I'm like, I didn't think it was possible. It's just funny to look
Yeah,
back now when we were talking about it. I'm like, oh my God, I got one of these.
yeah,
And now it
that was one
just,
of those things that you just heard about and like, oh yeah, don't give them to the random people, but you can't actually get it. Clearly, you can.
you
And now I
can.
feel like I see a lot of people pulling redeemables like left and right. I feel like it's enough of a chance, especially if you get like a pretty big pack, a premium pack where you have enough cards. Like your chances are pretty good to
It's
grab one.
insane though, like how random it truly is. Like I saw in like one of my like groups I'm in for Funko NFTs, someone traded two epics from the Avatar series, which the epics are, the highest level before you get to the redeemables, for a standard pack of the Avatar cards. Pulled a grail in it.
Oh my god.
And so it's just like, one person was just like, oh, there's probably nothing in this. Let me get these two epics that I need. And then this person was just like, oh my God, I just pulled a grail. It's like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like you never,
Or you'll get like a lot of duplicates. You'll
yeah,
get a pack of three in a row or three, and it's like so it really is just kind of random. The minted numbers are always all over the place. So like you really are getting like randomized things, which it's cool. It's awesome that they've been doing this, and I think enough people now are getting into it, and it's a big enough thing that it's
yes.
still really exciting. But I'm glad that they're branching out into some of these big lines now. That's gonna be awesome. But the last thing we'll talk about is FunKon. So I know we wanted to mention this because it's going to be this week. So this is the 19th, which will be this Friday. We're getting the actual drop. The reveals were announced all over, online, and Funko announced that it's only going to be 8 actual things coming out. I guess you could
Products.
say
Yep.
4 sodas and 4 pops. So it's a pretty small line. But we're both kind of still a little confused on specifically like what is FunCon, and obviously this one's coined FunCon FunCon 2, which last year, of course, during the summer there was a FunCon, and that was the first time they did it.
Yep.
We know that conventions for Funko the last year or two or whatever were pretty different. They weren't actually going to conventions. They did the whole virtual aspect. And I think now that I think about it, this might have been one of their first like real pushes of virtual
It
conventions
was.
because even stickers and stuff, because I have like the 2-pack of the Russo brothers, says virtual FunCon, 2021 virtual FunCon summer, whatever. So now our conventions are back. They've been to different ones. We have SDCC just passed, New York Comic Con's coming soon. And now we're getting this whole reveal of the FunCon, but it's also being done at Emerald City Comic Con, which I believe happened already. I could have swore it happened already, but I don't know if it didn't, and now it's getting delayed, and FunCon's part of that. But whatever's happening, the only official like things we have is that there's FunCon. There's 8 items. They're being sold. It's going to be at an event, which is a free event, I believe, right, in Seattle.
It's a block party in front of the store.
Yeah, which is super cool. And then online, you're going to be able to order the stuff too. So obviously, we'll talk about like what is being released, but just kind of a general gist of FunCon. Like what are your thoughts on it? Because I know we had talked about this off air, and you were basically saying like this was Funko's version of like getting a convention, and they made it because it was obviously created FunCon. It was never anything from before, but now it seems like they're just going to continue it, and maybe it's a part of the Emerald City convention because it's over there in their headquarters in Seattle, but it's a smaller event, but it's not like a booth. It's just weird.
It's weird.
It's kind of confusing.
It's weird because I still, and like, if anyone knows for sure, like, let us know in the comments if you're, when you come over to our YouTube page. But I feel like because there was no San Diego Comic-Con last year, they decided to make the FunCon. They wanted to keep the event going. It was a good way for them to sell their exclusive products, and which I'm actually grateful for. I was talking about this to someone the other day when I was explaining Funko to them. Like, we never would have had an opportunity to get these exclusives online like this if it wasn't for the pandemic, I don't think. Especially with like the boxes of fun, for example. Like that, I don't think we'd ever have an opportunity to get those pops if it wasn't for the pandemic.
So
correct?
Real quick, quite a question about that. So do you think Funko wouldn't have gotten as big as they are, where they would have been like, we need to sell this online because we're just that big? Or do you think the pandemic is partially a reason why they got as big as they are because they went virtual?
I mean, I think that they've gotten bigger because of going virtual because of the pandemic. I mean, Funko was obviously huge, but like a lot of people.
So you don't think they would have gotten to the point that they would just eventually not strictly, but went the virtual route because they just were like, wow, we're big and we can sell it?
I don't, because like no one was thinking that, and it was like going to the con to get these pops is like the special thing. Now it's like, okay, like the part of me thought once the con started going again, we were going to lose the virtual part of it, but they didn't take that away because they love money, and why not? And it's just, I think, and I talked about this in an episode a long time ago when we were talking about conventions, like I think Funko should actually, they're big enough now to have their own con. Like FunCon should be an actual event. They can make
like
panels,
a big every year
like an
event,
actual like D23 is a perfect example. That is a Disney convention. Celebration is a Star Wars convention. Funko is big enough, in my opinion, to have their own. It could be like FreddyCon, and like almost Box of Fun, like the fun nights could turn into their own Comic-Con.
Yeah, but not part of another Comic-Con, which is what they're doing.
Exactly.
Now, kind of branching it off.
I don't think they need to do that anymore. And I know I'm going in a tangent, but the moral of my story is I think the virtual FunCon just started last year because they know they always in July was San Diego Comic-Con, and they probably had these pops like planned for San Diego Comic-Con because you need to like, they don't just like decide this stuff. They're planning for, they probably already know some of the pops are going to be coming out for the cons in the future. So they're like, okay, let's keep the FunCon going, and they didn't do it. They didn't call that this year for the San Diego Comic-Con event because San Diego Comic-Con was back. So they kept it for this, and I do think Emerald City is normally in the spring, so that got, I think, messed up because of the pandemic. And
because that's usually like the first one we usually get.
So they're kind of like, okay, we need to have a presence in terms of, our pops like we always do, but we just had San Diego Comic-Con. Let's make this FunCon too. have a small little line because we saw this before. Like they're having no presence at the con. They're gonna have like panels there, which is cool, but they're not like to get the like quote unquote official con sticker. You need to go to Funko HQ. That's where they're having the pops, which I mean I think is cool, honestly. And like
no,
the
yeah,
whole
that
block
that
party
aspect
thing
is
sounds
cool.
fun.
Yeah, that aspect is cool. I mean, because I always thought it was a little weird, like when the virtual started, it was like you had a chance that you would get the real sticker or you would get a shared sticker, and it was like random supposedly, and it was like this whole weird thing. Or actually, no, I'm wrong on that partially. That was back when there was a 2-day event. The first day was the actual Funko specific con ones, but if they ran out of the con sticker, you would get the shared sticker. And then if you didn't win the lottery, general release was the next day. Do you remember that? That's how it
Yep,
used to
and
be.
that's where you
And
get
then
them
that
at
was
the
strictly
retailers.
shared. Yeah, and that was strictly shared. And Funko would resell whatever they had shared, and then the retailers would be shared. But you had to win the lottery to get the initial one, which is essentially kind of like saying like you were able to get to the event. But now they're going back to that where it's like you're at the event, you get the specific exclusive
But it was
sticker.
pretty hard to win the
Now online, you
lottery.
don't.
It was pretty
Oh yeah,
pretty
that whole
exclusive.
process was ridiculous. It was supposedly random, and even though I saw some people win all the time, but whatever.
Yeah, I know.
But let's talk about let's talk about the drop. So there's 8 of them, like I said, there's 4 pops and 4 sodas. A little bit of a mix. Obviously, it's a small line, but it's got some quality. It's got some cool, different type of things. I'm surprised we don't got a damn pop bag combo. They love doing that at
I
conventions,
agree.
but right off the bat, I mean, I got the picture here, so we'll go off the first one. The first one is the lemon head. So they already do have this pop. They also have this soda,
Do they
which I
have
know
a
the
pop or
shape.
just a soda? I don't
Do
think
they
there
not
is a
have a
pop.
pop?
I don't think there is.
I thought they had a normal one. I know. So for 100%, they have the soda, and I know the
Yes.
soda is a normal one. And then there's a glitter chase. This is a scented pop. So
Oh, then
it's
they probably do have one.
yes, this one smells like lemons. Like that's the whole thing, like a lemon head. So it's a scented one, which obviously they've only done that a few times. Which something like this kind of makes sense. I mean, it's
It's
food,
cool.
fruit related, whatever. Yeah. So lemon head, I mean, not something I'm like jumping over and I'm not gonna go and get it, but it's cool if you're an ad icon and you're into these things and the candies and whatever. It's a cool ad, especially because it's scented. Although, like, you obviously got to take it out to smell it, but I mean, that's a weird
Yeah.
one, but whatever. Then we have a Harry Potter one, so it's interesting
Yes.
that they got this line. This one specifically is the Diagon Alley like line, right? Kind of because there's like
Well,
a
it's
few of them. Oh no, well they have
I'm
some of these, right?
so I'm like confused what this is. I'm pumped for this. It's Ollivander, so it's the wand shop. I'm not sure if this is part of that new collection that just came out for you to connect them with, or it just kind of looks like it is because it's pretty ball. Like they've never done something where like if you don't get this con pop, your entire scene is screwed.
Yeah, but aren't
Um,
there like 2 different scenes? Like there's a Diagon
yes,
Alley,
yeah, which came out first, and now they have a Hogsmeade one that's coming out
Hogs.
that just got
Okay,
like made.
well
So
because this
like
one's the Diagon Alley one, so it would be like if
correct.
it connected, it would be to whatever the
I
first one is.
just
But
don't
yeah,
think it
I think it's just a
does.
scene, like
Yeah,
a moment or whatever they call it,
I
deluxe.
because he doesn't have a pop either, like on his
No,
own. No,
oh, okay.
I want this one. I think this one's awesome.
Yeah, so it's cool, and he's in front of the shop, so that's obviously like that hit that one. But I didn't know standalone he didn't even have one because I know the Harry Potter line is so big. But it's interesting that there's still characters that they can pull out that they haven't done a pop of,
I
and
agree.
not have to do 500 Harrys. So that's kind of cool that that they've done that. Then we have a demon. This is a demon slayer, right? But
Yeah, I know.
Muichiro. Not gonna totally butcher that name. Muichiro, I think. Muichiro. I don't know how to say it, but that's one of theirs. I mean, it's a pretty cool looking one. His hair, like, it's pretty awesome. These pops, like, they just look
They look
cool. They
cool.
always
I
look
agree.
amazing. Like the molds are always amazing, colors and everything. It's obviously a pretty cool. I've watched like maybe 2 episodes. It was a pretty intense, pretty cool show, but I just never went back to it. But it's an anime one. I mean, it makes sense to kind of throw one in there, for that fandom. Then the next one, this is the last pop. I know this is a huge line that just has recently started dropping on these cons. We already have 2 versions of this. This is a Ninja Turtle / Power Rangers like mashup, which I know we were just talking about Power Rangers,
awesome.
but this one is a Green Ranger mixed with Shredder. So far we have Leonardo, and Donatello.
Yep, Donatello is the Black Ranger, and
Black Ranger
Leonardo is the blue.
Is the Blue Ranger. Okay, yeah. So we have those so far, and then now we're getting a Green Ranger with a villain, basically Shredder. So that's kind of cool because initially we thought this line was pretty cool, and I just thought it was going to be the 4 turtles. I was like, oh, they'll come out the 4 turtles mixed with Power Rangers, whatever. But because I'm assuming because there's 6 Power Rangers or whatever, yep. So they obviously need more characters than there's turtles. So it's cool that we're getting like.
I actually love this one too.
So I wonder if we get like a Splinter or something, maybe.
Yeah. This one is amazing because like the Green Ranger starts off as a villain in the Power Rangers series. So like I don't think we're gonna get a better one than this in this series. I'm like super, super pumped for this one.
Yeah. So that's a cool one. I mean, it's a cool like idea in general. Like the whole concept of the mashup is cool. And the molds have all looked awesome. Like they look super cool.
Which though, I'm seeing something now in the image that I want to bring up because when we were just talking about how like Power Rangers are back, when I saw that those NFTs were coming out, I was so pumped. And like they haven't made a Power Ranger pop since 2018, 2019. A lot of people said they lost the license. And these are based off of a comic book run. But when I zoom in on the picture officially from Funko, it has the copyright on it. And it says Viacom, which it should say Paramount because it's not Viacom anymore. And it says Hasbro, which is what they own Power Rangers now. So I'm assuming we're going to start getting more Power Rangers pops, or we're definitely talking about sodas. You want Dragon Ball Z sodas? I want Power Ranger sodas.
Oh yeah, that's actually one of the sodas. I remember when we were talking. I don't know if it was on our channel or one of them when I said like if we could ever get one big line in sodas, and I think we all kind of were like, yeah, Power Rangers would be one. And then I kind of forgot about it, but now, yeah, it makes sense like to come back to it. Like totally, we totally need like we have the Ninja Turtles ones already, so let's get Power Rangers.
And
like,
you can milk the Power Rangers soda line for like a while, obviously.
Yeah, there's enough care. You have the core people, and then you come out with all different villains, and there's multiple different versions of them and all different ones or whatever. So you could totally go with that line. I mean, it makes sense. And like you said, maybe it's something that was a licensing thing where didn't have it for a little while. Now it's coming back because now we're getting these. We got obviously the NFTs, and if that's the case, like maybe we'll get more. I would be happy with if they did come out with new stuff that they went the soda route. I don't think they need to come out with more pops. Like I'm cool with I actually have like some of the OG ones here, and they obviously have the unmasked versions, and they came out with that terrible movie version later on. But I'm cool with that. Like do sodas. That'd be totally cool. But speaking of sodas, so if you want, you can run through the sodas. So those are the 4 pops. So now we got 4 sodas, and then there's a special one at the end. But
the 4 soda. So the first soda we got Yogi Berra. It's a black light, and it's kind of going off of the one we just got it from the con of the Hanna-Barbera, the Huckleberry Hound.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure this will obviously have a chase, but
it does. It's a different color. I think it's a blue one.
Okay.
So the chase is a blue. It's just a black light again. It's just the whole what they do with the damn black light sodas. So yeah, and what's funny is that we just recently got the Yogi Bear soda, the normal one, like not that long ago. So it is a little weird that we're seeing like versus the Huckleberry. We can't even talk today. The Huckleberry Hounds. That was like a really old soda, and then they redid it as the black light, which is all right. That's kind of cool. But like, yeah, the Yogi just recently came out, and I love the fact that the Yogi Chase was a flocked one. So like,
and I realized I just said Yogi Bear, which I would like a Yogi Bear Funko Pop, not Yogi Bear.
You definitely said Yogi Berra, and I was always gonna be like a blacklight Yogi Berra would be pretty awesome.
So that's a Funko Pop that I want. But yeah, so but what's interesting about this, which I'm curious to see, is so like his chase for the common soda, like, is a completely different mold. It's a flocked one without him holding the basket. So I'm curious if both of these will just be him holding the basket and they're different colors. It is. I haven't seen the picture of it. Okay.
So I've seen it on the the girls that do the
Okay, they
unboxing,
showed it.
basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So they did a FunKon one. They basically opened up all of these. So during that, they showed that's where I knew the lemon head was scented because they talked about it and they were smelling it. They opened up all the other ones and then they opened up all the sodas and yeah, the Yogi Bear one. And of course they had one of each. They had a chase and a even though they were sealed, they had a chase and a common so that they could show them off. And that's where I saw it was a blue version, I believe. And yeah, it had the basket and everything, it was just a different black light color. That was really the only difference.
So I mean, I'm actually, and this is the first time I can say for a con, and I know it's a smaller one, I want every soda.
Yeah, I agree.
The next one we have is She-Hulk, and it's cool because it is She-Hulk for the new Disney Plus show. Yep. So it's coming out like at legitimately a perfect time. Like they couldn't have made this drop any better. So I like that. Like the show's gonna come out and then you're gonna be able to buy this. But once again, with Marvel, typically really lazy chases, it's just a metallic. You could have made her like a lawyer, like a suit or something.
It should have been one or the other. Whether it's a common or chase, one should have been her as like the lawyer, and one should have been her in this like outfit. It just like at least her pose is a little different. Her arm is up, which we all know the Marvel ones are always with both arms down. But I totally agree. I don't get the whole metallic on a human. Well, not that she's like human, but like they do that with all the Marvel ones, like where it's like metallic should be on like the Iron Man. Okay, maybe in even that one they didn't do it, but like metallic because he's in metal or whatever. Like why
the
did they do it on
book
like
character should be the easiest chases because you have so many different things to like choose from.
Yeah,
that's
outfits
where like
and stances and different things. It's just like okay, granted they look cool. Like
they look
like for
awesome.
instance, I just pulled the Bucky, the Winter Soldier, and it was a common and chase, and
that one's different though.
It is, but the fact that it's metallic, the hair when they do metallic hair, like it looks cool, it's shiny, it's cool, but like that doesn't make sense. Like, why would hair be metallic or like a face, So like the fact that they always do that as a chase is just like, even if they made it glow, like sometimes that would make more sense than like metallic. But yeah, with this, I think it's a total miss because we know that it's gonna be this whole back and forth of her real life lawyer character and then this like superhero character. Like, how did you miss that? It's weird, but it's cool. It looks just like it's funny. It looks like her, like the one from specifically for the show that we know now. Even that can art and everything.
I think it looks
flexing,
great.
Dude. Why is she flexing?
It's I don't get it. I just don't. And we're very positive Funko lovers here.
Yeah, no, I know. I just like picking this stuff apart.
No, me too.
Because like the can art, if they could make the can art do something, why isn't the actual figure doing what the can art's even doing? Like that's what I was like. It's just confusing. So like they didn't think about her flexing because look, she's flexing on the can art.
The can is awesome. It's
the can really is cool.
Can. It's just funny when they finally make a Hulk soda that isn't the Gladiator one. I know they have that one,
which
but like
random at the end.
Why not have a Bruce Banner? Like to me, like that's like another thing. It's like these are perfect ones for to be them as their Hulk version and their human version.
Yeah.
Which I mean they do it in pops, so
yeah. But, I mean, and then in sodas with like Carl.
Yeah.
2 completely different molds, different age, like they could do it, obviously.
Yeah.
That was like that's why that's one of the best
sodas
common chase ever. Yeah.
I agree. Which I don't have, which I hate. And like when I got them, I'm like, okay, this one is so heavy. Like I knew.
Yeah, that's why if you guys know, if you see them in a store, there's a weight difference, just so you guys know.
Yes. Okay, the next one is awesome. It's a Jimi Hendrix soda. And I mean his chase is cool. It's like kind of bronze. But like they could have
bronze metallic, basically. Yeah. I like the common better.
Yeah, I like the comment. It's just like it's just so funny because like I know when I say this, some people probably think I'm insane, but it's because I collect because I love to collect. More than like 75% of the time, the commons are better than the chases. I feel like with sodas.
Yeah, a lot of times it's true. Like there's some that I'm like, yeah, that's so much cooler, or like I like them both equally. Yeah, but there is a lot of times where the common really is like definitely better. And this is another example where it's like, guys, like it's the writing's on the wall. Like you make so many Jimi Hendrix pops.
Yes.
Like that what's the difference between Jimi Hendrix pops? His outfits because of specific performances or different guitar, whatever it is, like there's a difference, right? He will look the same, but change his damn outfit.
So
Why
easy.
wouldn't they have done that with the soda chase? Like, why is it like bronze? Like, why is it like it's basically like a statue of him essentially? But it's just
they have no excuses now. Like I know when they like the Freddie Mercury one, which was an OG soda.
Yeah, it was like
Like
glitter.
yeah, which obviously he's iconic for his looks, and they didn't do it for that. But now, like a few years later, and like we've joked on this podcast, like especially me, like another Jimi Hendrix pop, like really, and like this is what they do with the soda. But the comment is awesome. Like I definitely
Yeah, yeah, I'd say I'm definitely gonna try to get. And again, with cons, you only can get one,
Yep.
so it's not like we're gonna pull common chases together unless eventually we get more later. But my whole theory, I just get the one and deal with it. If it's
All
a
the
common
day.
or chase, whatever. So I guess we'll see what it's gonna be.
But
But what about that last
the
one, man?
star of the show, we finally have the 3-liter Funko Soda, and it's the Iron Giant. This is ridiculous. It's funny. I didn't catch the whole Funko like live when the girls were showing off the stuff, but I
Yeah.
did see this.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I was
This
gonna say that
figure,
part was awesome.
this figure is epic too. It is, big. It's big boy. And even the pog, you still get the pog, but like some people are saying it looks like it's like a coaster. And this
Yeah,
has a
it's
pretty good
almost the
like.
size of one.
I'm cool with this chase, where he's like holding the car.
Yeah,
It's different enough where it's cool, like, and I it's funny, I really wish the first ever one to come out was that rumored Wampa from Star Wars, but this is awesome, and this is like a perfect, like, we could have gotten an Iron Giant normal soda, and like no one would have even thought like, oh, let's make a huge one. This is like a perfect character to do this in.
yeah. I think it is a perfect character. I like this idea. I have a feeling we're gonna see more of these, but I don't think it'll get too out of control.
I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, because one or two things. One, I think it's probably more expensive for them to make these. Like we don't even know what this price point is either. Like to
I
buy this
know.
thing.
What are you thinking it's
Um,
gonna be?
I would say 25,
Okay.
maybe
I'm
20
going
would
with
probably be.
30.
You think so? I was gonna say
I do.
25 would probably because 15 is what a normal soda is. So I'm thinking
And
maybe
it's
like
a con one, so
yeah, that's true. So I don't know, it depends. But what's cool about it, I was gonna say, is that I don't see them making a lot because well, at least so far with this and then the Wampa, if that's real or not, it's only been bigger characters. So
yep.
like if that's the case, they're not just to make anything in big. Like I don't see them doing like what they do with a 10-inch and 18-inch, just making a character bigger. I see it being that it's a bigger character in general. So like it's a giant or whatever it is, make it a bigger soda. If that's what they stick with, I'm totally cool with that. And I see them maybe just making it more exclusive in that side. Um, but it's interesting because we saw the Wampa one obviously for celebration, and it didn't really come out, but it was like announced that it was going to. We only saw pictures of it, so it makes you think like, was it like just a concept? Like, did someone know that this was? Because if you see it, it's
Coming.
the same exact bottle, like the
Yep.
the design, everything is exactly the same. So like, is it really out there? Did they get delayed? Is it like what happened with that? Because we have no idea. That's just so weird. They haven't even talked about it. So like, it makes it seem like it didn't like it wasn't real. But once we saw this, I was like, "What crap?" So the soda 3 liter,
Is
the
real.
3 liter thing is real. And the only thing I thought was weird is like I feel like they could have done a 2 liter soda. It didn't have to be
Yeah,
like
3.
that's
You
big,
just
man.
took the
It's like,
words right out of my mouth. Like this, yeah, it makes no sense.
like it's gonna be so much bigger. But if you guys didn't see the like what we were talking about that they revealed them on the Instagram, like they were having struggling problems to open up that damn bottle,
Yeah.
and it's not the top obviously doesn't open; it's the bottom
Bottom.
half underneath the label that you basically peel off like a little sticker, and then it pops out, and it's kind of like put in place with little notches, essentially like the plastic. But I love the fact that like once you pop it open, the figure is inside kind of like one of those clear plastic things like what the Funko Pops are, and then the Pog is in its own
Thing.
bag,
Yeah.
which was nice because it doesn't get damaged and it's at the bottom. So that's a cool little thing. The Pog, yeah, it's big. It's a lot bigger than the normal size one. Um, I just wonder like, are they gonna do different like if they have a different one, is the soda color gonna be different? Because like obviously like are they all gonna look like this or is it gonna be different colored ones or what? But it's cool. I think the figure itself is about the size. It's a little bit bigger than like a pop, I think, right? Or it's like because
It
a regular
reminded me
soda
of
is the
the
same
big
size of a
versions of
pop.
the yeah. It reminded me of the big versions of the gold.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big though,
You
because that
don't?
thing's 12 inches. That's bigger than a 10-inch pop. I feel
You're
like this
right.
is
It just
probably like
doesn't
in the,
look as big because it's skinny. But
but that's another
no,
thing
you're
too.
probably
Yeah,
right.
it is a thinner like thing. So I'm sure someone has somewhere like the actual dimensions of this because they
Yep.
usually people will figure those out. Um, but I think it's cool. It's the first one. The only thing that I think is gonna be interesting, granted, it's a con one, so you're not gonna really buy like a case of these. Like, oh, maybe someone can get a case of these, but I wonder like what a case of these like looks like, like a because it's still 1 in 6, still chase. So like these boxes, like they
Are
gotta be
huge.
enormous to get all of these damn bottles. So, but it's a cool one. It's different and it's just a cool way to kind of just have something extra in the soda game and not be just a generic standard can. I think the whole bottle concept is a cool idea. I was just thinking they would do bottles but not a 3 liter bottle. That's what my initial thought would have been, like, oh yeah, they'll eventually do bottles, but maybe they'll do a 2 liter bottle or a 1 liter bottle, which in that case is still bigger, it's different. But they went with the damn 3 liter, which you barely even see 3 liter sodas now
Yeah, it
anyways.
should have been. It should have been a 2 liter. Like that's like when you think of a bigger soda bottle, that's what I feel like it normally is.
Yeah, unless you go to like a crazy party and people come in with a 3 liter 3 liter
Yeah.
bottles for like a big kids party or something. But yeah, it's cool and it's a cool figure. It's a cool character. Like you said, the chase is cool. It's cool enough to be different, but
Yep.
not like too out of control. But yeah, overall, not the biggest like collection of stuff, but they're all pretty.
The
Like, I
quality
mean,
is
if
there.
if I'm not mistaken, if based off of kind of what you said,
Yeah.
are you going for 6 out of 8 of these? Is that like what
Yeah.
you're doing?
Which is crazy to say, but yeah. Because
Yeah,
I want like I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I want that pop. And normally I
that's gonna be a
maybe
big box, bro. Because think
yeah.
about it, that's a bigger than a normal size pop because it's
I,
like a
I
little
feel like it's
scene.
gonna be like, yeah, it won't be like a 10 inch, but it'll be kind of like the I feel like the size of the
It's like a
box of like
deluxe.
this, yeah, a deluxe one. And
But I'm saying all of these in one box.
oh, it's
We're
gonna be
getting the
huge,
big
yeah.
boy Funko box.
You're right, because obviously the soda is gonna be huge. Um, which it'll be
I don't
interesting
know if
how
I'm
they
going for that
protect
soda yet
these.
though. The box.
Really?
I like want to because it's the first
I feel
one,
like I feel like you have to just for that
and I feel
reason.
like I'm gonna have to because of that. Yeah, I
It
probably will. I
it just
100% want the other 3 sodas. I know
it's
that
so
was
funny
for
you
sure.
say that
But the
because like
price point is gonna kind of be an issue. I feel like if it's way too much, and then
yeah,
just I
I
might get it.
agree.
I don't know. I'm gonna try to get it. Fuck it.
Yeah. Well,
I'll
it's
figure
just
it
so
out.
funny you bring that up. Like if this wasn't the first ever
Yeah,
liter soda, I probably wouldn't get it.
yeah. I'm not like super attached to the character either to be like I need that more so than wow, it's a bottle. It's the first one. That's cool. And like that's why I want it type of thing.
And I know it'll ultimately be hard to get if I don't get it and then I have
Yeah,
FOMO.
and
Like
it'll
that's
probably be
exactly
expensive
what happened with the Captain America diecast. Like I didn't get it.
at first. Yeah,
And then luckily my cousin was actually able to hook me up with it for basically retail. But that goes for like I'd be mad now if I didn't have that and I needed to buy it to
yeah. That
complete
one's
my
still one of
set.
the most expensive ones,
It
and it's
is.
got to be
It's
because
yep.
well, one is it was a con one, so it
And it's
wasn't
the
like just a
first one.
general Funko, and it was the first one. Yeah, so but yeah, that was FunCon 2, I guess is what they're calling it now, 2022. So let us know what you guys think. I mean, of the reveals. Are you guys going after these sodas? What do you think about the 3 liters specifically? That's a big topic right there we could talk about. But like, what do you think about that in general? And if so, like, do you want more of these? What character would you want done in that? Obviously, like we said, the Wampa was like a supposedly leaked thing that we don't know, but that was like a perfect type of character for that. Like you said, if they want to come out, make a Hulk
Yep. It's
could
funny.
totally be
I'm
there.
nervous if this does well, we're gonna get what we don't want. When you just said they're gonna be like, okay, we'll make a Batman one.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
make
I
yeah,
just really hope they don't do that. I mean, yeah, like you
you
said,
know
they
they
could still
will.
they can, but I think there's enough characters that are more on the bigger side that should be like a Baymax, you know, like things that you know should be
That's a
bigger.
great, that's a
Make
great one.
that into a soda bottle, 3 liter, and make it cooler. Like people will love that more. We don't need a Batman in that size. We don't need like these general ones in that size. It just doesn't make sense. So I guess we'll
I
see.
feel like though that's what they used to do with the 10-inch pops.
Oh yeah,
And then it turned to let's just make a 10-inch pop in every line.
just make a bigger one. Yeah, which I can't lie, I love the tennis pops, and I
No,
love
me too.
the details on them, and I love the figure being bigger. But I think this type of thing is a little different. But then here's another thing. I'm not going back into the soda thing, but you have to. I mean, we already know that the sodas you have to open them to show this, but
Yep.
like you have to open this thing and like display it differently. Like that bottle is not technically see through. Like
Yeah, I'm
it's
curious what
just
it's gonna be like. If it's gonna be like made out of a nice plastic, or am I gonna get that in the mail and it's gonna be all dinged?
that's true too. I'm assuming it's a really thick. Based off
You
of
would
when those
hope.
girls were
You're
opening
right.
it, it seemed
You're
like it
right.
was
It was
pretty
hard to.
heavy duty.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it doesn't get damaged. That would be terrible. Like I don't see it being like an actual soda. If anything, like thicker than a real soda bottle, I would think.
Yeah, you
Because
would
even
hope.
those kind of obviously you can dent them and stuff. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. But let us know. Like I said, definitely comment down below if you're here on YouTube. If not, come over to YouTube if you're listening on the podcast to make sure that you see the visuals and stuff. Because obviously we're going to pop up all the stuff that we're talking about, and then also we want you guys to comment and let us know what your thoughts are on some of this news and stuff that's coming out, and then specifically the FunKon stuff as well. And good luck to you guys if you're trying to get any of this stuff because it'll be coming out this Friday. Good luck to the NFT drop, which we'll probably be back on again, but that'll be the week after when the Power Rangers one. So that's going to be awesome. But
Yeah, the Power Rangers are going to be awesome. I'm excited for that. So get ready for that video.
absolutely.
I'm going to get really excited.
Yes, and if I get packs too, then that'll be a pretty awesome one. Double if we can both get some good stuff, hopefully. But that's going to be it. Charlie, you can let us out let everybody know where they can find us and everything, following us.
Exactly. So if you're listening to our podcast, like can't reiterate enough, like thank you so much, but come over to our YouTube channel and make sure you give us a subscription. And like we said, you're going to see, this is a perfect episode too. You're going to see tons of awesome visuals of all the different pops that we've talked about. So when you get there too, make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when new episodes come out. And make sure give us some comments, talk to us on here. We love talking to everyone. We have some of our biggest fans who they'll contest, we always interact with them. And so just give us some comments, and then also come over to our Instagram page where you can follow us at Collector Chatter, where we post also tons of pictures, and or we're always updating our story, and we like to talk to the fans there. So like we said, just thank you so much for all your support, and also let us know what you think of the new logo because we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
But until next time, we'll see everyone later.
All right, have a good one, everyone.